Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sage 2023 Showcase. This time we're looking at a game that we actually looked at last year, and I didn't really enjoy it then. This was an interesting looking furry 3D platformer, but it ran so badly. Like, really, really badly last year. But the dev left a really nice comment, really understanding. Specifically, they said, I was going to read it because I actually quoted myself here in this little overview. First of all, thank you so much for the showcase and for all the feedback. We are aware of all the performance issues and other things that need to be fixed and polished. We already have several points noted to improve the game and bring a better and smoother experience to the next stage, which we are already working on. We hope you enjoy more of what we intend to bring this year with all the feedback received at Stage 22. So, due to that comment, I'm going to give this 2023 version a chance, since they acknowledge the performance issues and we're striving to have those patched up. The game actually did seem pretty interesting. It just ran so utterly poorly, it wasn't fun last year. But if they have indeed fixed up the performance, perhaps we can properly enjoy it this year. Let's give it a shot. So, this is the 3D platformer with a jetpack. Cosmo Vulpes is a sci-fi adventure where you play as a bounty hunter fox named Claus, with his jetpack and other gadgets developed by his friend Fennec Saphira, complete missions and explore new worlds. It kind of had a 3D platformer shooter vibe, kind of like Ratchet and Clank, if I remember, from what I was able to play last year. So, had pretty good vibes. It just, yeah, the performance was the thing holding it back. So let's check this one out. Apparently the first world of the game is here. I think that might be the same as last year, but again, we didn't really get to properly experience it. So let's see what we got. Of course, before we begin, if you like the video, do think about giving it a like. If you haven't subscribed yet, think about doing that as well. But if you really want to help out, think about coming over to Twitch. We're trying to reach a partner over here, but we need more viewers to do that. So if you want to come by, whether it's to lurk or to talk, think about doing so, because it does make a world of a difference, and we'd honestly love to have you. Also, we have a pretty cool Discord community if you want to check that out. I have a Coffee link if you want to help directly monetize my content, and I have a merch store if you want to buy some cool merch. Links in the description. Check them out if you feel like it. I do have to say, by the way, another thing, I'm not going to reintroduce the topics we were talking about before this video, but suffice to say, YouTube, I've been having sort of a rough couple of last days. Another thing that's been bringing me down, I kind of forgot to mention, is Twitch hasn't been paying out very much last few months. I've been having some really bad payouts. Like, I'm not going to give you guys numbers, I think it's actually illegal, but like, it's been really low. So any support you guys can offer, even if it's just viewer support, it really does help out, and I really appreciate it. We're on a consistent funk with Twitch revenue, unfortunately. But let's see what we got here. So we got Green Ruins. Explore Green Ruins, a place with lots of nature and ruins and ancient people, which is being invaded by Deep Star Industries. The treasure hunter is on site. Can you complete our challenge? So that's the level we played last year, and it ran really bad. Null Dimension 01, trying to get the best time to collect the maximum collectibles in linear challenge level. I think this might be new. And we have missions as well. My head's blocking them a little bit, but you can read. Close to the sky, ruins underground, some gems to be found, industrial rooftop, and extra missions. This is almost like Super Mario 64 Power Star names. So yeah, there's multiple things to do. These are kind of sandboxy levels. This one's more linear. Still has multiple objectives. Hard Iceland. Hard Iceland is the location of Claus's last adventure. Replay the map using your new equipment and collect the vault text around the map. I feel like I checked this one out too last year. I can't remember. I think I may have been in that version. But yeah, let's go back to Green Ruins, because that was the one that ran the worst. I definitely know that. So if anything, if the performance has been fixed up, we'll be able to tell best here. Now, the settings I currently have, by the way, is maximum resolution and medium graphics. There's not a lot of settings. That's like kind of all the settings are worth, but that's how it's set up. That's how it defaults, so I just left it that way. So let's see how this goes. Well, it's... Oh, right. I just remembered. Last year, I absolutely murdered the settings file. I think that's still saved. It's a little bit blurry. It's like the actual resolution's a bit blurry. I think that's because I messed with settings files. Actually, let me go see if I can find that original settings file, since I probably messed with it and it probably saved from last year. Remember, these files do save. Remember, of course, how Isekai Mario, I keep my save file around for each year Sage because the file just sticks around. You know, I probably should back it up, honestly, just in case. But yeah, I think I tried to mess with config files like last year, and I believe that led us to kind of messing with the graphics a bit. It does seem to be fine so far, though. It definitely is. Like, I recall, I messed with the graphics immensely, and it still ran like crap. Like, I did a lot of work, and it still ran bad. So, the fact that we were able to move around a little bit there without any problems, that's a good sign. At least I can't tell if there's any problems. I can probably just leave it with the tanked graphics, because I think I definitely lowered it more than it's meant to be, I guess. But it's probably okay. Certainly play. Also, it's very... Did the audio get super quiet? Are you serious? I don't know where the files are. I took a quick look. I forget where they were stored. Okay, let's see how this actually runs, though. Well, I mean, that's not 60 FPS, so I would still say that it could be better, but let me actually mess with this for a second. I want to see, does this actually do anything when I change it? Did it get frozen? Nope. Yeah, it's frozen. So, okay, it did change something. Let's take a look at high. Just want to see what that looks like. That didn't really change much. It might be because I messed with CFG files, though. I'm not really sure. Well, that screen shake is still as bad as it was last year. I recall that when you attacked things, it was a little, yeah, little much. So, I'm going to say the frame rates... I mean, I guess we'll just keep it with my... I guess it's probably best I leave it. The settings tanked how I had them before. Let's do this resolution, too. Let's give the game a fair... Wait, really? Oh, my God. Me, when I realize there's no 1600 by 900 option. I really like... When I go windowed mode, I usually go 16 by 9, because it's like... It's still fairly big, but it's smaller than my window... It's smaller than my monitor's resolution, so it still saves some... like frames. It doesn't really matter too much for you guys, though, I guess. So, It's kind of small at 1280, but alright. I've still played smaller game windows than this. I mean, that's really not affecting the performance whatsoever when I change the resolution. I'm trying to get 60 FPS. They said they were going to work on the performance, so... I want to see if 60 FPS is possible. Okay, well, I have a good side. Okay, there is something good I can remark on when I turn into low graphics, I think. Let's see. Yeah, I believe the foliage stops swaying. Very good. Very good. A low graphics setting that actually stops the motherfucking grass and shit from moving. Thank you. Because I noticed there was dynamic shadows going on here. Which, by the way, I'm sure is a large part of the problem. These shadows were literally moving with the trees. Do you know how much performance that takes? Like, not only moving foliage, but also moving foliage that interacts realistically and changes the light and shadows? That is such a random performance hog. Do not do. So I'm glad to see that low settings now actually do lower the foliage. Or basically make it stop moving. I appreciate that. Very much appreciate that. I will remark, though, this frame rate, I mean, like, what do you guys think? I think I can see it stutter some when I'm looking certain. Yeah. I'm seeing the exact same thing you guys are, by the way. We're not having any sort of disconnect this time. The frame rate, that was actually the thing that was remarkable about Cosmo Vulpes last year. While I have had a lot of games where they record poorly, most games run fine for me, like, for my own personal vision. But this game was equally bad for both me and the audience last year. So it's still it's definitely better. I would say it's definitely better. It is a marketable improvement. This is playable. Is it good? No, it's not good yet. Hey, Claus, why are you here? Didn't you say it'd be on the spaceship? Well, yes. Did her model just glitch the fuck out? That was kind of interesting. Well, yes, but I'm here to give you some directions. All right, if you say. If you say so. Oh, yeah, I don't know what her model's doing. What? Is that was she doing like a really fast salute? As I already said before, for now you have all the possible gadgets. They're just prototypes, sometimes they might not work well. Don't forget the energy gears charge up your jetpack's energy a bit when collected. From what I already scanned, there are some Voltics around here, and those are the collectibles. Top of the ruins. Highest place is Deep Star Industries. In the underground, I think you'll need to go around that cliff. There's a small challenge that will give you a Voltec completed. And that girl right there. Take care. Okay, thank you, Finnick Fox. But yeah, so I do like the idea of this game. First off, it's furry as hell. Character designs are actually really good. I have no problems with its character designs. And I do think it's trying to go for a bit of a slightly Ratchet and Clank-ish sort of vibe with a little bit of Mario vibe too. I don't actually remember our buttons. Wait, what? Oh, okay. I lost the ability to jump for a second. I was like, what? I was very confused. But, yeah, the game is still pretty rough for performance. It's like, oh, how to put it? It's like if you... Oh, what's down here? Also, the audio is like non-existent. Should I turn it back up? This is weird. You know what? Oh, you know why? You know what it is? Let me bet. Let me bet. No, it's maxed. I've also noticed this weird trend with this Sage where I have to like turn down the title screen because it's motherfucking loud and I need to do an intro. But then when I get into game, it's like way quieter for some reason. And it's like, well, I guess I gotta turn it back up. Audio balancing is hard, I guess, for development. Oh, that wasn't good. Try that again. I don't know if you guys noticed, but when I reached the top of the zip line, there was a stutter and I couldn't jump. Let's see, how do I jetpack? That's how. Jetpack meter is that electric bolt. And I believe the jetpack, if I recall... Yeah, you can't go up with it, so you just maintain whatever height you already had. Oof. You know, the jumping feels, like, kind of sticky. You know, I didn't really pay too much attention to the controls last year because the performance is so bad I couldn't tell, like, oh, you know, are my controls bad because of the frame rate, or is my controls bad because of the controls? Now that the controls are... Now that the frame rate's a bit better, I can tell you that the controls feel really... Oh god, why did I lag there too? Is that a bomb? Okay, it is. Can it hurt me? No, it bounces me up. Oh god! Alright. That is how you destroy those crates. I guess that's one way to gain height. The movement set seems interesting, but the control seems sticky. Is how I'd put it. Like, even just wall jumping feels really questionable. Like, oh, is this gonna work? Like, yeah. So they have definitely I will say, they definitely improved the performance, but they haven't done it enough. It's kind of like... You know what it's kind of like? Because the only analogies I can ever make involve food, so I'm just going to make a food analogy. It's like if you went to if you got a gas station hot dog. Like last year, it felt like I got a gas station hot dog, and it was kind of questionable, and then it made me sick. And this year, it's like I went to McDonald's, and it's like, well, that's way better than a gas station hot dog, but it's still McDonald's, though. But it is not a gas station hot dog anymore. You know? That is an improvement. I just kind of would... Can we at least get, like, Jack in the Box level quality? Like, that's kind of... I'd be happy with Jack in the Box. You know? I have not seen a Jack in the Box in a long time. I have not... It's only in certain places in America. Why can't I wall jump? Oh, God. Okay, here's an interesting thing. The controls are so... Unfortunately, yeah, there's still... the controls in the collision are pretty bad. So, like, when I'm trying to do a wall jump, look at this. I can't jump anymore. Until I back off, I bet. Yeah. So I'm, like, jumping into the wall. Getting stuck a little bit off the ground. And I had to back off. And then try again. And then I get... So yeah, oh my goodness. So, like, visually the game looks pretty okay, in my opinion. Frame rate needs improvement still. But, like, these controls. I think they were this way last year. I do want to say, I think this is not... I think this is indicative of how they were last year as well. Okay, I'm kind of liking the... I like the control. I like the moveset. I'm not, like, trying to be a dick here. I do think the moveset's pretty nice. But, like, pulling off the moves feels bad. Like, unfortunately. It feels like one of those old Game Maker like it feels. I mean, this is a 3D game, but like it feels kind of makes me think of those old 2D Game Maker games where if you ever jumped against a wall, you were possibly going to get stuck in it, and then like have the jump sound repeat randomly until you get yourself back out. And if you jumped against the ceiling, your character might just get stuck to the ceiling. You know those old Game Maker games that did that? Anybody else play those? It kind of has that, it gives me that vibe of, okay, I don't know, I really hope somebody knows what I'm talking about when I describe this vibe. It gives me the vibe of, oh, this is one of those games where I need to avoid doing any complex movements or I might just glitch the game. Has anybody ever played a game like that? Hopefully I'm not alone there. The movement set is fine. It's just, it unfortunately is not controlling very fine. I do appreciate the improved frame rate, though. Kudos on that. I can actually play the game. I mean, the control issue is becoming more obvious, but at least I will give it credit. Like, last year, I couldn't even tell the controls were bad because I didn't have enough frames to figure that out. At least this year, I can figure it out. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like... Actually, what it feels like is the developers kind of developing their own engine for this stuff, and it's a bit rough. And kudos for that, if that is the case. I do get vibes of, this is a homebrew engine, and that's part of the reason it's not running so great, or not working so hot. And it's like, well, credit, though, if it is a custom engine, though, because that still takes effort. But I think I'm supposed to race that character, so I'm just going to ignore her right now. I need to get used to the controls a bit more. I will say, like, the frame rate is improved, but it is... Ooh, okay. I thought I got stuck there. It is still... It's inconsistent. Like, if... Like here. Look at the frame rate right now. And then, like, if I look at over here, it's better. Yeah, it's one of those... This gives me a headache, unfortunately, if I play games like this for too long. The sort of game where if I look a certain direction, I get this frame rate, and then if I look at that direction, I get a different frame rate. Those give me a headache because of the inconsistency, unfortunately. Oh, there is ledge grabbing. Okay, cool. Also, wall jumping is a thing, but only if the main character feels like it. Only if the main character feels like it. So it's really hard to tell where you can wall jump. Oh god, okay. You need, like, I think the key is here... I think the problem with the wall jump is... Wall jumping requires a perpendicular wall, a properly flat wall, but a lot of the walls in this level are very curved. So there's a lot of weirdness going on where the game itself is not sure if I should be able to wall jump, and it kind of like glitches between it being possible and not possible. So in other words, the wall jump mechanic is not a bad idea, but it completely falls apart on non-straight walls. So this is a case of level design and moveset do not have cohesion, I guess you could say. It has a Scarlet Vibe problem, where if you look in a given direction, the game tries to load too much for one reason or another, so it has issues. Or in this game's case, what I probably bet is happening, because I've had this happen on Unreal and Unity. Like, yeah, let's see here. Yeah, definitely. So you see this ring right here? This is a boost. Like, I boost through that and I get a bunch of collectibles. Well, all the way over there in the distance, can you see over there? There's one over there. Now, I'm pretty sure, especially considering I have the graphics on low, that shouldn't be rendering. But I bet you what's going on here, I bet you a big reason the performance is still shaky. There's no calling. I do not believe there's any calling. The only way to check that for sure is to get to the top of the map. If I can get to the highest point in the map, I can check to see if there's calling or not. I will attempt to do so. Alright, I have to... Keep forgetting it's a remote bomb. A lack of calling is probably... So, again, though, like, I want to point out, I will be a bit critical because I, like, legitimately, given how my experience was last year with this game, I would not have come back to this game except for the fact that the developer literally left a comment on my 2022 video and said they were fixing things. And that is the only reason I came back to this, because I was like, all right, show of good faith. Let's see what you've done, right? And I do see that they have fixed some stuff. Like, I definitely do see that some stuff has been fixed. Yeah, look at this level design in the distance here. I can't say for sure about going over there, but I'm pretty sure. Okay, I think even the enemies are loaded. I explored this structure last year. Do you see on that one little scaffolding platform that's kind of directly above the top of my character's head? You see there's a little glowy thing there? I believe that's an enemy. So I do not believe there is calling going on, even for, like, enemies. I can't say for sure. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of enemies around there. I can't see too many. But there is that thing there. Maybe the enemies are getting called out. Maybe that's an object of some other sort that's not calling out. But more important than whether the enemies call out or not is the environment. And from what I can tell, yeah, I even see, like, a sparkly doodle, like, on the very furthest away thing directly, like, that thing directly from me, that one cliff. Seems like the furthest thing away from me. I can tell there's things sparkling up there. I see the rings still. Yeah, there's no calling going on here. Or if there is, it's very minor calling, like just removing the enemies if you're not close. Which does help a little, don't get me wrong. It's just environmental calling is honestly the biggest impact to performance typically. So like if you don't do that. So yeah, they have worked on performance issues, but I don't know. In my personal opinion, given that it's kind of unstable for me right now, and given that, you know, I can make these observations. What are these? Should I be breaking these? What are these things? Oh, okay, it's a boost thing. So I appreciate that they indeed have worked on the performance issues, like they said. But I gotta say, especially for a year of performance fixings, not enough, in my personal opinion. Not enough work has been done. And I mean, maybe they know that. Maybe they're like, yeah, we're going to keep working on the performance further. That may be the case. I imagine it probably will be the case. But I have to say, I was kind of hoping that I'd come back to it this year and they had fixed everything. Maybe that's asking too much. I don't know. It is better, though. So they have done... And given that the level doesn't look all that different... Actually, okay, you know what? I like thinking about this a little more deeply. Since the level doesn't look all that different, but the performance is a lot better than last year. By the way, you can compare how it was last year. Let's compare. Actually, you know what? This makes more sense if I pull up the old video, right? I should really do that. Let's do a proper comparison. This is the advantage of being a content creator. It can be like, yeah, if this felt like last time I played this, it was this way, or it was that way. Well, I could just pull it up. I could just show us. I could just show how it was last year. So let's take a look last year. So here was last year. I just kind of started in the middle of the video. Here's how last year looked. Let's start from the top here. So there's like an intro level, and then I went to the main level. The intro level was fine. From what I remember, it was this main level where.
President Kia for ingredients. Okay.
Okay, so here's how it was last year.
This is what I was wondering. You notice the frame rate when I look at the foliage?
A lot darker.
So the first thing I noticed with the tutorial level was a general a sense of lack of polish. So I was kind of curious if we got into a busier environment, how would it run? So here's the interesting thing. This isn't one of those situations where. This is not actually one of the situations where the stream footage is worse than what I see. No, I'm actually seeing the same choppiness as you guys.
Just like I addressed this year, I am seeing the same thing you guys do.
So this is heavily unoptimized. Because it's not just you guys, but also me seeing it. Oh, wow, that actually makes it smaller.
So I did mess with settings last year.
1 second. I'm gonna mess around a bit. Oh god, that messed up my... Hold on a second.
Broke something, apparently. I think the ultimate settings I ended up with was medium? Yeah? Okay.
I select medium. I go back to options. It's at high. Very low, then.
It wasn't played. Yeah.
Are you fucking for real, right?
So I struggled to even lower the settings last year because it didn't want to.
Now, you don't. You. Oh, good. I don't want to personally. Oh, I somehow could.
So I'm glad they fixed that. It does actually keep track of what I've selected now.
Settings down. It's still running like shit. Hold on. I'm gonna look at. I'm curious how much processing this is using. Set. What the hell?
How much was it using?
I'm running in a resolution of 1024, 560, 76.
Wow, I really lowered it.
And it's still using 30%. What the hell? All right. Like literally, this is. It doesn't look so bad for you guys, but it's tiny for me.
The gearless no longer rotate. That might have maybe all the oh, you good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah, they stopped the rotation, which I assume that helps performance. Yeah, that's one change that's been observed. Oh, yeah, I guess during the zoom out, we saw it earlier too, but the zoom outs let us know too that everything is loaded in. You can kind of tell when it zooms out. Also, there was a volumetric fog in this older version. Like a haze over the environment. I don't believe that's here now, so that probably is helping. Because that fog...
Oh, okay, just show me where they are.
That sort of fog really does add a lot to performance issues.
It's just also... I like one line here.
It does look silly watching my head.
For now, you have all the possible gadgets I give you, but they're just prototypes.
So...
No actual drop frames, but the game might be causing frame drops. I don't know. Is it, is footage...
So there was still some decent, like, frames here and there when I was on the edge of the map. At least I didn't fall to my death this year.
Yeah, I'm fine with rounding. 50, 15, 0. What is that?
But if we go to, like... Let me go a little forward in this video.
At the bottom of the screen, see that?
So...
I don't know where those are. Okay.
You can see the difference, right? First
off,
off,
how do I activate the radar?
I had to murder the graphics. They look a lot better this year. They're brighter, which actually helps. Like, this game was very dark last year, I just realized. Just in general, like the general color tones and everything, just very dark. There's better lighting this year, which I think helps a lot. So I don't have to turn down the graphics. Like, the graphics look better on low resolution, too. Like this year, it doesn't look nearly as bad, right? So, like, it does run better and look better with my current settings, which is an improvement.
Sure, then.
But it's definitely not running significantly better than last year.
Oh, so yeah, the jetpack, it doesn't really let you go, like, up.
Yeah, like, good observation charm from last year. Why did it take me 20 minutes to realize you can't fly up with the jetpack? All right.
At this point, if I see moving... Honestly, you know how, like, some YouTubers...
Anyways, there's that video for now. Oh. There. So there's last year's, right? So it's definitely a visual and performance improvement. Like, the fact that everything's a lot brighter is just a lot better. Like, I definitely like how much brighter things are. Not only does that help visibility, but the game just looks better with this color palette. Like, just feels properly lit. Like, you know. But yeah, the performance is definitely better. It's just not better enough in my opinion. It's still going to give me a headache if I play this for too long, which is unfortunate, but... Okay, I've just learned that my bombs are going to be... Like, I can't gain height with a jetpack, but I sure can with these. Bombs are good. Very much a Metroid inspiration, I suppose. I think the character designs fit a lot better with this color palette, too. Because, I mean, we have furry animal characters. This game doesn't need to be grimdark. Try to decide where to go. There's stuff everywhere, so... So I'm glad these... The green gears are... I want to say they're a currency, but I'm not sure. I have 587, 667. I assume that we're building up these for some purpose. I'm not really sure. Not the... They're the numerous collectible, not the main collectible. There are coins, I suppose. But
But given this game does have a Ratchet and Clank vibe, I wouldn't be surprised if it's straight up currency and you buy stuff with it, at least in the full game. But yeah, if the movement, like what you can do, is pretty good in this game, like your moveset. I have other things too. I like Gravity Rush. I don't know what that did. Let me jump and try it again. Oh, it literally lets me rush forward. And then we have... Oh, I remember this from last year. Just automatic jump pad. So I'm going to stay with the bombs for now. But yeah, the automatic jump pad gives you a lot of height. And then what's this? What's that graphic? Like, it's a boomerang. Send out boomerang. Boomerang goes, but it hits me. All right, get it out. Look at the boomerang when it hits me. Oh, it didn't even... Nothing happened. All right. Oh, whoa! All right. What is the boomerang doing now? It's like the moment it hits me, it squishes into a million pieces. Woo! Segmented orange meter. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, gaining height looks pretty easy because you know one thing though? Oh, you can also do it this way. That's good to know you can do it that way. I would love it if I could select two of these gadgets to two different buttons. Currently, it's just you hit left trigger and it drops the thing. So it drops whatever you have selected. But it'd be really nice if I could have... And right trigger is jetpack. But it looks like left button is your hot select, like hotkey select. So if I use left button, it does that. Right button doesn't seem to do anything. So what I would personally do, Dev, if you're watching, what I would personally do is put this quick select wheel on right button. And then put the left button and left trigger, or if you prefer, L1, R2, or L1, L2, sorry. I would put L1 and L2 / left button, left trigger. I would have those both be gadget buttons, and you could select two gadgets to put on them. That way, I could, drop a bomb and drop a trap at the same time. I just realized you should not abbreviate the word trampoline. That sounds weird. Yeah, I guess try to drop a tramp down. Take her out for an evening. Get an extra reward. Alright, let's see. By the way, the gears do still move. They just don't move the same way they did last year. Yeah, basically, it seems like out of the 4 shoulder buttons, one is for hotbar, one is for dropping whatever gadget you have selected, one is for jetpack, and one is also... Wait. Oh! Left trigger... Okay, right trigger and right button... R1, R2, however you want to put it. They both jetpack. So yeah, I would absolutely, since they both jetpack, that's redundant. I would have one of them be for the gadget select, and then use the gadget select button for another gadget. That's how I do it. Because it would be nice if a game like this would feel a lot smoother if you could have two gadgets active at the same time. In my personal opinion, it would make things feel more streamlined. Especially when you consider the hull trampoline is best for gaining height, but the bombs are absolutely required to break certain boxes. So, I kind of need them both. At the very least, those two. The other two gadgets are a little more niche. One of them lets me rush forward, and the other one lets me throw a weird boomerang, which I guess could be good for combat, but... Apparently, if you hold down the jetpack button without any jetpack fuel, the jetpack makes throw-up noises. It goes... Alright, then. I do wonder why I'm collecting all these. They're everywhere. In fact, this whole area of the forest seems just dedicated to collecting these things, which...
Makes me wonder what they do. Also, did I just jetpack in a wall kick animation? Alright, interesting. Would Gearless upgrade something? Maybe. You know what? I just realized what the problem is. I didn't think about this last year because, again, I was focused more on the performance. I do have to say, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? You guys just took a look at the 2022 video. Do you guys feel like, I definitely feel visually speaking the game looks better, but performance-wise, I feel like very little has changed. Like, it's better, just not enough. Do you guys think that for 1 year of tuning, this is acceptable, or do you guys think that they could have done better? I kind of feel like they could have done better, personally. But game development is hard. So, you know. I do have... Oh no, look at that. Stuck. I do think that the performance mixed with the fact that the game's basic controls are very, you know... Like, again, I wall jumping and I can't wall jump the walls because they're too sloped, and then the game glitches a little bit, and then I try to walk up a ramp, but the ramp isn't flush with the floor, so I get stuck. Like, I don't know, man. It just feels really amateur, unfortunately. Still, which is a bit of a shame. These guys are probably weakened warriors. That's, I mean, possibly. I'm not going to make any assumptions as to how they develop and what amount of time they have, but it is true that I have no idea, so... I think they got a good visual... I think visually, they know what they're doing. Performance, they've made improvements, but not enough. Controls, very much need some refinement. It's hard to say how much, like, it's really hard to say, like, well, I played this last year and it was like this and now it's like this. That's not good enough. Like, what is good enough, right? Like, the game development is a process. You can't just expect perfection in a day. But when you are releasing yearly to Sage, what should the expectations be for people in Sage playing your game? If you released a game into Sage 1 year, and it got some negative or critical feedback, and people want to see improvements, and then you release next Sage, is it fair for people on the next Sage to expect a lot of that stuff to be fixed if you're releasing for that Sage? Because that's the thing, right? Like, if the game wasn't completely fixed up to the developer's liking for the next year, wouldn't it be better to skip that? Is it better to skip that Sage until the next year when you feel like you have a better product? Or is it better to go ahead and release what you have that Sage to get more feedback? It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. There's points to both. The developer did go out of their way to, like I said, leave a comment on my 2022 video, which I appreciate. But that video is the entire reason I'm back. I would have actually skipped this game otherwise. Seeing it in my list, I would have been like, well, it was very rough last year. I'm not interested in checking out this year. But they basically encouraged me to, well, they didn't ask me to. They're like, you need to check it out next year. They weren't, pushing me or anything, but I definitely did feel like, oh, they were making a good faith statement that they were going to make it better for next year. So that's why I'm checking it out this year, right? I completely missed all those. All right. So I feel like it's worth sharing the project because it is furry. It is something that I think will interest a lot of people. It's just, do I enjoy it? I mean, here's the thing too. I noticed one thing, which again I couldn't discuss this last year because the performances distracted me, but I can discuss it this year. I feel like, you notice my movement speed? I move pretty well with a jetpack. Like my speed while jetpacking is pretty good. But notice my walking speed. Notice my walking speed, and then consider how big the level is. What the hell is that thing? that was special. I think this level is absolutely way too massive. Oh, there's one of the enemies.
I feel like this. I feel like the level's way too massive for how fast I move. I feel like my character should be doing a proper little run or something with how big this level is. By the way, I would like to say that 9 times out of 10 when I try to wall jump, something goes wrong. By the way. Ooh, that camera got really janky. I believe we said last year this level in particular could have been 2 or 3. Yeah, I think I did complain about the size of the level last year. It does not appear to be in a different... It does appear to be the same level. Like, the map does seem to be more or less the same. I mean, maybe... It's certainly possible this map has had minor tweaks, maybe a few changes to the environment, but, like, it is basically the same. Oh, no. Well, that fucking hurt my brain. Let's do it again. I'd like to note that I'm pressing nothing. I'm not trying to move the camera. It's just doing that. I'm not even sure what the camera is attempting in this situation. All right. Benefit of the doubt. I mean, again, it's not the worst game in the world. I do like some of what they're doing here, but I feel like they need to do better. And I'm saying that because, again, I was messaged. They did leave me a comment saying that they were going to fix things up for Sage 2023. And I wouldn't say they lied, right? I wouldn't say that they lied, but I was hoping for a bit more. I was definitely hoping for a bit. I'm just going to stay on the bombs. The bombs let me attack, the bombs let me boost, and the bombs let me break crates. I don't see anything else. I don't see any reason to have anything else. I mean, the trampoline lets me boost higher than the bombs do, but I don't know. I like the bombs. Oops. The bombs are nice. I do like the bombs. They're quite nice because they're both a movement. They're movement, attack, and object breaking. Like, and they don't hurt me. I like explosives that boost you in video games. It just gives an extra movement attack, you know. Oh no, you're gonna attack me. Oh shit, I missed you. It's gonna blow up him and the crates, but I did not achieve that goal. Ah. Actually, I think I can just... Yeah. As long as I don't touch the sides of it. Yeah, honestly, the bomb is really nice to use. While the wall jumping is really jank and some other collision is really jank, the bomb is very reliable. It's very consistent. I can very much, as long as I time it right, I can very easily get a nice little boost. It's weird. It's like it's you would think that the bomb collision, considering the wall jump is janky, you'd consider the bomb's boost collision would be really janky too. But no, it's actually really consistent. So kudos on the bomb programming. I think it worked out quite well. So that platform doesn't actually exist. You think it does, but it doesn't. All right. What? Again, I'm trying to be nice, right? I'm trying to be thoughtful about how I describe my experience with this game, especially comparing to last year and comparing to the words the developer said about improving things. But I'm sorry, there is a lot here that's still kind of, Again, I'm just going to go back to the statement I said before. It is improved, but I definitely feel it could have been improved further. I think that is a statement I will stand by. I definitely think that if they were going to release for 2023 after getting feedback from 2022, I personally think that, I mean, if I were them, I'm not trying to judge them for how much time they had to develop. You might be right, fair. They might be only having a limited time to develop Weekend Warrior stuff while working another job. That's completely likely. There's Z fighting on the floor in front of me right now. Anyways, so yeah, it's completely likely that there is... What is creating that shadow? It's completely likely that they just didn't have a lot of... They tried their best, but didn't have all the time in the world. But
if I were them, had limited time, couldn't fix up everything I wanted to fix up, I probably would have just skipped showing my game for a year on Sage. Like, yeah, there is something to be said about doing a yearly Sage release to get attention. But also, there'd be some degree of like, all right, I'm going to get some attention. I'm going to get feedback. Okay, I got a bunch of feedback. I'm going to hold off next year. I'm just going to work, right? I'm just going to work a little longer. I don't want to release my game over and over again in a kind of rough state, because I think that's my personal opinion, my personal game development logic. Release a few rough versions to get some feedback and some opinions, but doing a yearly release that's kind of rough is going to tank the opinion of the game, in my opinion. Like, I don't want to do that every year, because if I did it every year, then everybody would just associate my game with, oh yeah, that's the buggy game that I keep seeing every year, Like, that's not how I'd like my game to get a general opinion, but in fairness, it does look to be a new level. Yeah, we'll check that out in a minute. I think you're right. I'm pretty sure that the ice level and this were from last year. In fact, let's look at my 2022 video. So what I noticed isn't here is the intro level. The 2022 version had an intro level thing that I don't think is here, which is fine. I don't really mind. It's not a big deal. But yeah, I'm looking at my 2022 video real fast. I explored this big level for a while. Admittedly, I eventually lost interest because it was too big and took too long to cross, which is probably the same thing here. And then we played the ice level. And for those wondering how the ice level was, I don't actually remember. So let's switch it up. I think we've played enough of this level. But yeah, so the ice level was like this.
There's giant iceberg area. There's foresty area. I don't mind large levels necessarily. But considering how the objectives are laid out, I think I would prefer them being a little more constrained. I think that was why the collectathon genre was so strong on the N64, why it was such a popular genre from Rare and also a few other developers. I think the reason it worked so well on the N64 is the N64 did limit the sizes of levels. You couldn't have massive giant levels on an N64, but that ended up working to the game's benefits. Because a collectathon in a constrained map can be a lot more focused, a lot more, it's a lot more fun to collect everything if you aren't hoofing it across a giant map every single time you're trying to look for the last thing. So in other words, the N64 actually, its limitation led to a benefit in my opinion, for collectathons. Because a collectathon being limited in map size, that may sound like a bad thing, but no, not really. Actually, I think it's quite a good thing.
Sorry, I just shut up because I apparently stopped. I just shut up and let 2022 version of me talk, because that is honestly still a very valid statement to this video too. Yeah, that is a good point. 2022, thank you for that one. Yeah, I think that's the thing. Big levels plus go around and collect things equals ugh, right? Here's how this ice level looked. We just saw. You can also see the performance is kind of like, again, kind of what we had before. There's a secret rank and null space. It said there's a secret rank and null space. I don't know what that means. So I can rank while I rank? Oh no. I broke the text there for a second. I'm gonna go back to Iceland to see if what they've done visually for Iceland and how it performs. But I will point out, though, I am running this at 1280 by 720 on low settings, and it's still, again, it seems to be impossible to get 60 FPS. This stage is a little bit better, but granted it has less foliage. But it's still inconsistent. Like, the thing I do... Listen, I don't need 60 FPS in a game. What I want is a consistent frame rate. I don't care if a game wants to run in 30 FPS, as long as it's consistently running in 30 FPS. Now, I don't have an FPS counter for this game, but much like last year, inconsistency is the thing that gets me down. Watch as I spin this camera. At certain moments, like, it's subtle, if you're not completely, like, paying attention to it. But you will notice that certain areas of when the camera spins to them, I'm getting less frames than other areas. The camera spin test is something that you can do in a game to see how consistent the frame rate is. Another thing you can do is, like, for instance, like, here's the edge of the map, right? So let's just stand here. Ooh, look at that. Let me just rotate the camera a bit. So, That feels pretty good. I still think it's not quite 60 FPS, but it feels pretty good. Like, that feels pretty smooth, right? Now, if I look towards this way, let's walk over here a little bit. Whoop. And again, it's not terrible, individually speaking, but it is different now. It's not still kind of smooth at moments, but again, that's the thing. It's not consistent. There. Here, yeah, they have been rotating, Car. They were rotating the last level too. I think they were just rotating differently than last time. Oh, I just noticed something. I have a double jump, but it doesn't always work. Sometimes I jump off the ground and it just gives me one jump. Yeah, there's something really wrong with the core movement of the character. Hence the wall jumping and double jump and stuff like that going wrong. So the gearlets are still animated. Just differently animated. Woo. I don't know. Woo, fun. This is horrible. This really does remind me of an old Game Maker game from, like, the 1990s. Because when I run, like, I can jump over this wall. But if I run into the wall... This is me hitting the jump button. I guess I put it this way. Like, there's a point to releasing your clearly still in development game multiple years on like a showcase platform, you know? Like Sage. But I just would hold back a game if I released a really jank version, then next year I also released a really jank version. I don't know. I'd hold off on the second year. I'd skip a year. I'd go to 2024 and then, like, okay, maybe now it's not jank as much. I'll release this one. That's just how I would do it, though. Like, everybody could do their own game development style their own way. Remember, guys, I haven't done stuff for a while, and I only just kind of dabble. I'm a hobbyist, definitely at most, but I have done game development. And so these opinions I feel are valid because again, I'm not so super cool or anything. I'm not saying I am, but I do technically count as a game developer, right? So these are just yeah. Even if the frame rate was perfect, I still have some major trouble with just the character's collision. How he collides with objects is just not very good. But I do, again, the visual design of this game, if this was running better and the character controlled better, this level would be awesome. Well, and I had faster running speed, because again, this level's not as large as the last level. But again, the levels are definitely too expensive. 2022 me was correct. There's something to be said for more constrained open world levels, right? There's something to be said for more constrained collectathon levels. Basically, let me just like right here, like I'm saying right here. Here's the thing: in a game like Banjo-Kazooie, I will extend upon what I said last year. In a game like Banjo-Kazooie, think about if you've ever played Banjo-Kazooie or Banjo-Tooie even, but Banjo-Kazooie is the best example I can think of. Think about how, like, when you walk around the level, every area has a purpose, right? You go to one side of the level and it's like, oh, this is the area where I do, like, that orange mini game, or oh, that's the area where I got that jiggy, or oh yeah, this weird little corner, that's where you can get a Mumbo token. Right now, guys, what is the point of the area I'm standing in right now? What's the point of this little area? We have this glowing thing. It's just a glowing thing. Trees. Yeah? Is there anything on top of the trees? Well, no. I mean, over that way, but what about this area, though? That's the thing. The problem that I see a lot of developers have with collectathons these days, and yes, it's even affected things like Ukulele, is more space is not better. More space, more world does not necessarily make a better collectathon. You know, yeah, I like. a bigger world increases the chances that an area just exists for no reason. Like the edge of this forest area here, which could just be completely removed. The sea could come up to the... Like, if the sea just came up to, say, about here, where there's actually stuff to jump around and grab gears of, that would change nothing. I thought ukulele was fine. I heard that some people complained about the size of it. I never personally played it. You get quite the chain going if you try. But, like, I'm looking at this forest, like, there is stuff in this forest. I'm not saying there isn't stuff in this forest, but, like, man, it's really spread out, right? If you had a Banjo-Kazooie level that wanted to put stuff in treetops, you can bet the treetops would be more constrained, the items would be more collected in one place. There would still be a challenge. There'd still be enemies and stuff to bounce around, but it wouldn't be this spread out. And I'm not saying that the N64 is, like, the best system in the world. I don't personally think that. I just think that it did indeed provide some benefits of its limitations. And there's something to be said for expansive levels, too. I'm not even saying there isn't. But you gotta use them right. Why is there a red light and then there wasn't? Okay. Oh. I didn't know they blew up. Alright. Why did I... guys? So there's a homing dash when attacking enemies in midair. And the homing dash broke. And I dashed downwards. And this is now my character's... Now my character is planking. Do you see my problem? I want to... Listen, I know that sometimes people have told me, Charm, you're really overly critical of X game or whatever. And it's like, I get it. Like, yeah, sometimes I am, but like, it's kind of hard to avoid that sort of thing happening. It's hard to avoid critique when I can't stop looking at things to critique. And I'm not even trying, I think I grabbed that at an angle too. I sure did. So that's the major collectible way. That's our Jiggies, the Voltec. Again, I'm just gonna go back to what I said before. I would have skipped a year if I was a developer. I would have skipped a year, refined more stuff out, given people a 2-year gap before I released another build. I really understand the desire to release every year on stage. I understand the desire to get feedback. I understand the desire to show off your product. But, like, I'm pretty sure all this feedback was available last year, right? Everything we're experiencing. Well, I didn't experience everything. Oh, I fixed my planking issue. I'm back to normal, guys. I definitely didn't see some of these glitches last year, but I'm almost certain. I can't prove it, obviously. But I'm almost certain that these glitches existed last year. Okay, there's two ways to look at this. Either these glitches did exist last year, meaning that that's just yet more reason to polish the game up before releasing it this year. You know, skip a year. Or these are new glitches, meaning that it was a case of, you know, kind of taking one step forward, 2 step backs with the progress. Either way you look at it, this needed more work, you know? So the trees, ice fires in town could have all been separate. Yeah, absolutely. I think that would have been nice, actually. Like, having, like the, even, you know what, actually, like, look at the design of this ice area. It's kind of more linear, right? Like, I'm going down cords and stuff. This would have been lovely as its own level, because imagine, like, if you went to the town level and it was a little bit open and there was NPCs to talk to because it's a town, so it was a little more slower paced, and you got some collectibles and fought some enemies here and there. And that was, like, one level, right? And you had this, like, you had this slow-paced, slightly more narrative-focused adventure level. And then the second level you'd go to is the iced forest, and that place wouldn't be having a bunch of NPCs. It would be mostly combat and exploration as you pop around the treetops. And that could be its own level, and it would have its own flair. And then you go to the ice glacier level, and that level would be more linear, with more like focused corridors and stuff, and that would be, you know, that would be a separate experience. So like, not only visually are these levels different, but they also have different. These areas also have different focuses, right? These levels could very easily. If you divide this into 3 levels, you could also give those 3 levels a lot of their own individual personality, and some of that is already here in just how they're designed, like geometrically. You could really capitalize on that, and then the player would be like, and think about that, by splitting up the level like that, the player would also have a choice. Oh, do I want to go, talk to NPCs and hang around a town? Do I want to just jump around the treetops and explore? Or do I want more of a linear experience? Do I want to go to the linear level? The player could choose like what experience do you want? I mean, obviously, if you want 100% the game, you have to do it all. But like again, just kind of opens up what the player can do. Okay, those are indeed holograms, like they appeared. So again, that's another benefit of splitting up levels like this, because since these 3 areas have their own identity. Since these 3 areas have their own identity, since they're all like, that's really great if they were their own levels, but since they're all put together, that kind of makes this level kind of muddled, right? It's like, oh, I got the area where I do this, and I got the area where I do this. It's okay for levels to have a little variety in them, of course, but like, I feel like a clear design decision of having them separate in their own little constrained levels would be a lot more interesting than trying to jumble them together. So yeah, that's something that I felt like the developer was overly focused on last time. Again, I don't know their complete focus. I don't know what they're doing. But I will say that I feel like they are maybe a little too focused on, oh, look at these cool big levels. Here, let's check out level 3 though. As soon as I'm gonna get to the top of this glacier if I can. So I'm kind of curious what's up there. And then I will check out the new level for this year, and we'll see what kind of design decision it has. Because I definitely say with both this level and the forest level that it could be split up. Like, we didn't explore the forest level fully, but we had the forest area, and then we had that like factory area, and those definitely could have been separate levels with different themes. Like, oh, you can even have a narrative thing with it. Like, oh, you go through the forest heading to the enemy stronghold, and the next level, enemy stronghold, the factory. I'm not sure why these enemies don't care about me, but I'll take it. Also, if you wanted to go out of your way to collect all of the little collectibles, like, it's not worth it. Like, quite honestly, this game, I don't know if they're required for 100%. Like, I don't know. Maybe they just come back. Maybe they're like coins in Super Mario 64, where you just need some of them. You don't need to get every one. But if they do stay permanently collected, and they are a proper collectible, oh, this game would be miserable. I feel like this game is a game where you don't want to grab them all. Like, as if you tried to grab every single one, these levels are big enough already. You'd be here forever. You need a gear magnet. Yeah, I wonder if that's an upgrade. By the way, you can't just place a trampoline on the ground. Cosmo's like, I'm going to chuck this as far as I can. God damn it, Cosmo. Yeah, we're just spitballing ideas here. Oh god, that enemy didn't exist and then he did. Huh, is that a hologram or not a hologram? Yes and yes, okay. But yeah, this definitely has a linear design to it, and I have no problem with that. I don't have any problem with this level design for this like one section, right? I did not recharge my jetpack. I do have a double jump, though. Thank goodness. And there's opportunities for shortcuts if you know what you're doing. Even just the double jump, like the controls are very, very, very. You need to play it for yourself. You lose a lot of inputs. Like you try to do a double jump, but the game has decided you can't double jump, or you try to do a wall jump, and the game's decided you can't wall jump. There's a lot of game. There's a lot of like hoping that the game allows me to do an input. It's not very pleasant. But look at this. Like these areas are literally divided up into their own little islands. These easily could be made into separate levels. Like obviously, I think maybe the forest would be a little too small for a level. Well, I don't know. Maybe depends on what you do with it. But also like this also does demonstrate the calling issue though, because we're seeing everything. Like you can even see the little gears on top of the trees still. Like the calling is nearly non-existent, if non-existent. That doesn't mean I don't appreciate the view, by the way. I just think that it should be... Here's the thing about calling. You don't need to just delete objects and ruin the view. There's a thing called level of detail, where you could say, for instance, that town there, it could have a level of detail option where once you get far enough away, they just make little billboard houses with little glowy, PNG lights or something. And it would still look good. It would just be a lot better for performance. But also, yeah, you could have the site, separate out the stages and save on game load by having that be a background object, by having it be part of the background, like the Aurora lights here. Which, again, you can pull off a lot of techniques with, like, a flat image, even, if you know how to, like, angle it. There is a flaw highlighted by this site. What do you see? These are islands that avoid. Oh, yeah. Okay, guys. Yeah, good point. If you look, you see that dark area of the water? Watch as I rotate the camera. You can literally see the world box. You can see the four quarters. There's one right there. There's one right there. There's one right there. And there's one right there. Camera feels like it should be much bigger from where you're standing. I didn't really explore it that much in this particular video. Was it small or was it big? I can't remember. It does feel like... It does look like a place that would be very big. Right now, it looks like that should be like a background object implying a very large, bustling town. Larger than you can tell from a distance. Yeah, I definitely see your point. And the forest feels... Okay, the forest looks kind of weird, right? It looks like somebody took a forest and then a giant person, like, with their giant hands, just, like, grabbed all the outside of the canopies and the trees and, like, swooshed them all together. And they're like, I'm going to have it compacted here. Like... But this side really just show how small these places are and inspire their own open emptiness. Yeah! Like, it's really kind of the worst... Unfortunately, it's kind of the worst of both worlds, because it sure takes a while to cross these areas. But to what end, right? Like, it takes me a while to get around these areas, but I don't really get any benefit from it. It's just... Oh, well, I guess I took a while to cross this area. But, like, in some games, like, having a very open map is fine, because it's like... Say for instance, the Elder Scrolls games... There's most certainly nothing space. Oh yeah, there's also this area over here. Technically, this is a separate area as well. Huh. The proper tapping. Oh god. With proper tapping, easily got to another Jiggy. I do like that I can control the... I do like some... It's weird. Anything that is ground movement, like it's janky, like falling through platforms, getting stuck on ledges, the wall jump when I'm trying to interact with a wall, all of that messes up really easily, and even double jumping off the ground. But once I'm in the air of the jetpack or the trampoline or whatever, it works pretty well. Once I'm nowhere near a solid surface, I have pretty good controls, basically. I am free in the air and nowhere else. Wait, didn't that saved me time? That brought me back to the town. But yeah, like consider this town, for instance. If this was a Banjo-Kazooie game, if this was Banjo-Kazooie, every single building in the town would have some sort of point. Climbing for a collectible, going inside for a different little area, you know, talking to an NPC outside their house, something like that. But here we have a whole bunch of copy-paste buildings. Most of them don't have anything happening on top of them or around them. There's just some idly... By the way, I actually really hate these chains of gears. Because you have to, like... You have to hover off the platform. If you jump, you actually go over them. So it's like, you have to, like, kind of avoid jumping. You just feel like you gotta fall off the platform and hover to get these sort of chains of gears like this. Which granted isn't too hard, but, like, it does require a little, like... you have to, like, revert your expectations, because in most games, you want to jump... Like, in a normal platform, you normally want to jump off the platform, not fall off it. That's usually a bad thing, but to get these gear chains, they're actually level to the platform and not to the air above the platform, so you can't jump. It's kind of weird. Anyways... Yeah, this town just feels very uninspiring, though. It looked cool from a distance, but once you're in it, it's just like, okay. Like, why does this exist? Like, there's almost nothing here. There's just some gears here and there. Is there anything up there? No, it doesn't even look like there's anything up there. I can find out. No, not really. Like, I must ask the question of, what is the point of this town in this level? This feels like it should just be a background detail to look cool from a distance. I don't really feel like going inside the town does a lot for me. Maybe there's an important collectible here, I can't tell, but it could very easily be anywhere else. It reminds me of the snowy town from the Sly Cooper games, but miniaturized. Ah, yes, Jean Bisson's area, Canada. Sly Cooper 2. I actually found a YouTuber that's pretty small. He did a full coverage, like retrospective Sly Cooper 2. Really good video series, by the way. I heavily recommend. If you guys would like me to link him, just ask. But yeah, let's check out the last level. I would like to move it to another game pretty soon. So obviously I have no interest in like trying to 100% this. I kind of knew that going in, because unless they had done some amazing changes between 2022's version and this one, there was no way I was going to try to 100% this. Wait. Did it even save my progress? Because I just noticed, like, the missions, there's little, like, grayed out gears. I definitely completed 2 of the missions. Oh, so I'm sorry, what did I, like, hover in there? Like, what is that exactly? I'm just checking, I'm just curious. Yeah, everything reset. So, I mean, I don't know if the full game's gonna be that way, where everything doesn't save, but nothing saves in this version. So, all right, Null Dimension 01. This is the new thing. It's more of it's a linear challenge level, which means, I mean, that could be to the game's benefit. It might run, like, we did have a decent. How did the full game be that? Probably not. Okay. Yeah, it's a timer and stuff. Okay. The fuck? Sorry, I have, like, see the little shadow under me? This is good. This actually lets you know where you're landing. However, look at it right now when I'm against the wall. It looks a little weird. But, okay. I mean, it's good to have that. I do like the landing shadow. A lot of games could benefit from having one. Do I have my text still? Oh, I do. Okay. I was wondering if the linear level would actually take my text away, a la Super Mario Sunshine, where they take your jetpack and they make you do platforming. Since they gave me the trampoline, I could do some things with that. There is a flying animation, but, like,
Sometimes I get stuck on a stay animation when I jump off those fans. You notice that? It's kind of funny, though. I don't mind it. That's a minor issue compared to some. Ah. Okay, this has the problem I've had with some legitimate actual Sonic games where the homing attack is good, but suddenly, like, you turn your character a little bit, and suddenly the game's like, oh, I guess you're not going to be able to homing attack now. You turned your character. Where am I going? Where the fuck am I going? Down, I guess, now. Wait, where was I? Oh, was I supposed to... I don't know. I was hitting those homing attack things, but I wasn't really sure where I was supposed to be going with them. That was kind of confusing. Page. Page. Well, there's a fan over there. Hold on. Oh! Oh! Right, the character did say that. I forgot. That recharges your jetpack, those things. Oh, God. It's very easy to fall outside of the fan. You constantly drifted it. Okay, where? Am I just supposed to go back, or am I supposed to go that way? I guess I'll go that way. Oh, I'm too low. Was I supposed to have more height? Ooh. Ooh, I don't know, guys. A linear challenge level should be extremely clear about where you're supposed to go. After all, it's linear. It shouldn't be that hard to communicate to the player where they are going. There shouldn't be a lot of options, and it should be very clear. From what I could tell, I chose the correct direction, but I was just, for some reason, way too low down to actually get there. Despite me trying to do that on the apex of the fan. So... yeah, kind of red flag if a linear level fails to tell me where to go very clearly. Like, obviously, some of that is still... you could definitely say, like, well, that's also your fault, Charm. You didn't see the thing. But, like, yes, but my visibility is also the developer's responsibility. You know? There is a case of the player does something stupid. They didn't notice something obvious. That does happen in games, and that does happen with me. I definitely don't feel like that is the case here, though. Also, there's something very important I'd like to note. You remember how I said that the rings, they spawn the gear things, and then I, well, the gears, they recharge your jetpack. So, there was a mid-air challenge there where I was supposed to hit rings to recharge my jetpack, right? But I'd like to point something out. The rings are gone now. They don't come back. So if you fail, if you fail the replenishing jetpack challenge, you don't have any more jetpack replenishing. For instance, right there. There was a ring there. Notice how I ran out of jetpack and barely made it? I believe there was a ring there before, and well, okay, granted, the gears themselves would have recharged me, but if I had gone for the gears, I would have had enough, probably. Nonetheless, though, the rings are important. They are very easy to hit. And they give you a big recharge. So... the thing is, though, every time I pick up any collectible, that is permanently removing them from the level for me to recharge with. So if I fail to use them to recharge for something that might be necessary to get somewhere, I put myself in a bad position. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. I'm seeing if I'm actually wrong about that. It feels like... wait, those rings there. Those are the ones I used, right? Okay, they did come back then. All right, never mind. That may not be a problem. It was now that was how they worked in the adventure area. I didn't see them come. Once I went through them, they seemed to be gone. So I didn't go through all of them. Okay. Fortunately, I don't think I have to take that path. There's an upper path here. Ooh. There is one bad thing about the rings. You notice it? Pay attention. When I go through a ring, I don't get an immediate jetpack recharge. If you are running out of your jetpack and just manage to reach a ring, you will still fall out of the sky. Because it's a case of hit ring, gears spawn, they sit there for a second, and then they go to you. So if you need an immediate recharge of a ring, you can't get it. You have to have you have to hit a ring like a second before you need it. Now, granted, they're well timed enough that you can probably achieve that, but that would really suck in a clutch situation where you need them to give you the thing right now and you don't get it right now. That would kind of suck. Once again, I'm confused where to go, but I guess there's like something over there, so. Oh no. Okay, made it through. There was no ring, so I had to... By the way, it's really hard to hit the gears when there's no ring. The rings are easy enough to hit, for the most part, fair enough to hit. But to aim correctly for the gears is tricky, because as Carr said earlier, there's no magnetization. Collectibles do not fly to you, unless, of course, you hit them through a ring and then they fly to you, but... Is this the way to go? I'm really not sure. Sometimes I'm, like, looking at them, like, is that where I'm supposed to go, or is that, like, a thing I'm supposed to hit to get up here in the first place? Like... Very unclear. Like, I could very well just go towards an object to hit it, and then be like, oh, this path goes down. Oh, fuck, I chose incorrectly. Like, I don't know. It's hard to tell. Huh. Not really sure what that was, but okay. Oh. Like, right there! There it is! There is exactly that situation that I was mentioning where I need the ring to recharge me quickly. That was a situation where I could have used it. A quick recharge. So now what do I do? Because I just used 2 rings. And they seem pretty vital. So what do I do now? I mean, maybe I can, like, manage to get over here. But I'm, like, out of charge now, so... Just made that. Just made that. I guess Elite Skills works. Okay. First challenge. I mean... Well, I mean... Yeah, I'm not impressed. I actually thought, oh, this is like a linear challenge level. This might fix some of the issues I have with the open world levels, because a linear challenge level, it might end up being... By the way, I did that way too slow for a decent ring. But yeah, I was like, oh, linear challenge level, this might actually, like, you know, tighten up the gameplay a little bit, and then it'd be a little fun. But no, because remember, like I said, some of the basic movement is still glitchy. Like, just simply doing a double jump, the input sometimes doesn't work. Wall jumps, they don't always work. So, a linear challenge level that does focus more on the platforming, unfortunately, because of those inaccurate, like, controls, where they are kind of jank, that doesn't serve well for these sort of things. And also, yeah, I'm not fond of a decision like, go through a course where you need the rings to recharge your jetpack, but if you use them, then they disappear. They do come back if you die. But having to literally throw myself into a pit to recharge, to fix some of the platforming for a challenge seems really uncouth, you know? See, that does not seem like a good fix. Like, oh, well, I broke the platforms that I need to get up there. Guess I'll die to give them back. Like, that's kind of a shitty solution. Come on. But yeah, I definitely think that this is still not really fun. The levels are too slow, the character's too slow, the movement
is still janky AF. And while the performance is a bit better, and I do appreciate the differences in the visual style from last year, it's a lot more lit up. It looks better. But visuals are fine. I have very little problem with the visuals. But the actual controls are frustrating and really, like, you know the best way I could describe how the input dropping and stuff feels, the character getting stuck on walls or floors and such? It feels like I'm playing with a controller after somebody numbs my hands of like a paralyzing shot. And I'm trying to like press buttons and I'm like not sure if I press the button because I'm not seeing things happen like if I press the button, so I have to like try again, and I'm not really feeling like I control the character completely. You know? Like, that's how it feels. But also the performance. Developer, you left me a comment last year in my last video. I do appreciate that. I appreciate the interest. I appreciate you watching the video. I don't think you fixed the performance enough, personally. There is some work that I see that you have done. Removing the fog. I think there have been little adjustments and stuff. Probably a lot of subtle stuff I don't see. But there's a lot that still could be done. You need environmental calling. Level of detail options, where if you get far away from something, it becomes a less complex object. Or indeed, just if you can't handle LOD, popping out the object wouldn't look great, but it would help the performance. So that's another option. You know, popping out part of the model, like removing that mountain if you're far away from it, etc. But yeah, I don't know how much development time the developer had between last year's entry and this year's entry, but I definitely don't feel like enough was done. And I wish them luck for 2024, but I don't think I'll be playing it that year unless something massive improves. But that was Cosmo Vulpes. It was worth the relook. It was worth to see that I can see there's some progress. I just personally feel it's not quite enough, and I will not be returning to this unless something major happens. But that was Cosmo Vulpes. I do like the theme. I do like the visuals. It just isn't there for performance and gameplay.